Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, it's a big, monumental moment for the Mustang project. We're gonna get the 67 body onto the 2016 Mustang chassis. Got a lot of work to do, so a lot of cutting and a lot of welding to be done. We're gonna walk you through how to do it. Stay tuned. Get down to work, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Trade Coffee. Listen guys, right now is no time to be dorking around in the coffee aisle at the grocery store trying to figure out what you want. Wouldn't life be so much easier if you had a curated selection of coffee specifically chosen for you and it was just magically delivered to your door? Yes, life would be better if you had that. If you had Trade Coffee. With Trade Coffee, you get new coffee delivered to your door by the nation's top roasters, all selected based on your personal preferences. Here's how it works. First, you go online and you take the quiz. Tell Trade how you like your coffee, and then they're gonna curate matches just for you. Second step, it gets delivered. You tell Trade how frequently you want new coffee delivered to your door, and it gets you fresh from the roaster. And finally, you rate that coffee. You rate your matches so Trade can build a profile around what you like and keep delivering you new coffees that you will love. Trade Coffee has been a huge supporter of this channel and my coffee habits for well over a year, and I just love it. I just got this new decaf roast for a little like late night after work coffee. I also think it's about Spanish coffee season. It's always Spanish coffee season, actually. Anyways, guys, the link is in the description below. Make sure you go click on that link. When you do, you're gonna get 30% off your first bag of coffee when you sign up, and free shipping is included. Huge thanks to Trade for sponsoring this episode. Now let's get down to work. How much is it weighing, Oscar?
About, I'd say about 400 pounds.
It's getting a little lighter, a little bit lighter. When we did the Datsun, it was like not as hard as that to lift the front end up, but it was more of a back heavy situation. Yeah. Anyways, getting started. Oscar's gonna go ahead and cut from here down and remove everything else behind it. This is different than we did it the last time, but that's because this one's definitely gonna have this exposed, there's no side skirt, we're gonna have an exposed thing that we have to build into it, and we think it's gonna be a lot cleaner and better looking if we do it this way. So cutting at this line on both sides, cutting both those babies off, and then we're gonna be working, me and Kyle are gonna be working on the newer Mustang. So we got a lot more trimming to do. This whole beam on this car we're actually gonna take out. This section down here needs to come out too, so it's one flat bar like that we use to level the new body. Coming up through here, we're gonna leave the seatbelt thing, we're gonna cut through here, up here to keep the support in the car, and this support that goes this way in the car, and then cut that off. Then this will come off, and that's, I think, where we'll call that step good. And while that's all going on, somebody's gotta be on this other side, making the other side match up, because it still looks way too much like a Mustang. Let's get down to it. All right, Oscar got the side panel cut off. This thing is looking skinny. So that's about as much as we're gonna take off at the first, for the first shot before we try and put it on the Mustang. So it's time to move over to the Mustang. Kyle cut through all of this stuff and got that main panel, that big panel right here. That's a big pane, completely gone. So that's really great. We trimmed that back up a little bit, just as we did on the last car, to give ourselves room for the new stuff to come in. So there's just a couple more, like a little bit of fine tuning in here, cleaning up this, and then cutting this out. Then I'm gonna take over, cut through this guy right here, take the rear bumper off, and start to trim a lot of this stuff down in the back over here. All right, Kyle and I worked on this back end, and well, there is no more back end. That's it. Took several inches off the back of this car. Because with the classic body, it has everything attached to it, and we have to bring it from the top down. We actually have to cut off more this time, and then we're gonna build back in. So that's well, that's that. Time to check in with Oscar on this side over here. All right, Oscar's been grinding on this side, literally grinding on this side. Got that post off, the A-pillar post off, and all this stuff off to match the other side. Now he's gonna start go ahead and working his way back, cutting off the quarter panel. Ow, that actually hurt my foot. I'm feeling smart today. All right, cutting off this quarter panel, working his way back, getting this quarter panel off. Oscar's got this rear quarter panel cut up very nicely. Now we cut this pretty technically to be able to use this if we have another Mustang, like say maybe if I were to buy a drift car or build a drift car out of a Mustang, which I really want to do, Mustang GT drift car. This could be used if I lost a quarter panel. We could just quickly over rivet one of these on there. So now we have two of these, which is good. Spare quarter panels. If this video gets 30,000 likes, I'll buy myself a Mustang drift car and I'll actually use it. So this thing's good to go. There's a lot of foam in there that holds it on. We're gonna go ahead and very gently work it off without creasing the quarter panel, and then it'll be off. Ah! All right, this thing's stabbing me in the foot. Quarter panel is off. Now, if you remember from the other side, we got to cut this baby off, starting by down there, cut through there, up, over, around, down there, up there, over there, and down there. Yep. All right, Kyle's got the centerpiece all cut out, again matching what we did over there, just bringing all that out right there so we have a flat space to set the body of the 67 down on. And we're probably gonna have to trim some of that out, we know, but for the most part, that's all good. All right, next up, Oscar is gonna go ahead and modify this deck, and he said in the last Mustang he kind of brought it in like through here, so he's gonna go ahead and cut right through there and then cut the rest of this like bottom section off over here. All right, so I'm a little bit late to the game, Oscar, but explain to us why this guy had to come out.
All right, so I was measuring the old Mustang, the 67 Mustang.
Yeah.
And this back part is literally 20 inches from the frame rail to the very top of it. Mm-hmm. So if we don't take this out of the way, we're gonna be 8 inches too tall. So this part right here,
so this is kind of where the fastback just like lined up perfectly right, but because we're going coupe now, yep, it's probably notching right down really fast and it's gonna hit.
Yep. So
you braced it up, you got it almost all the way cut out of here, just gonna finish cutting it out, and then the body won't flex in at all, and we're getting really close.
Let's get
Oscar just cut out the center support section. So this is, at this point, this is way more than we've ever cut off of a Mustang really before. Pretty much at the end, all we're really leaving is the frame rail that runs through this, and then it comes over here and it runs down through here and kind of ties into over here. That's a bit of a weak spot that we're gonna box in. And then we're leaving a little bit of sheet metal for a wheel arch. And that's it. We're taking everything else from the 67 and we're tying into the 67. I mean, if it was good enough to be the whole body of a 67, it's probably good enough to be part of this unibody thing. So the next thing that Oscar's gonna go ahead and do is trim off these towers because these are way too high. Oh, I was thinking of one cool thing that you could do here. If we get the fastback glass that we were kind of talking about earlier, we could bring this out right here and it would be like the fastback glass would come down through here, and then right here you'd have this area where you could bring this out. But it's up to you where you might want to bring this fuel filler neck out. We definitely can't bring it to the stock location with a 67 because it's much lower, so the gas won't flow uphill and then back down. So it's up to you though where you want to go ahead and design that. I think it would be cool to come out here, but we'll see. We'll see what Oscar decides. So these two little tower things gotta go, and then that should be, we should be getting really close to starting to look at the other body and really kind of scrutinizing where it may fit and might catch and stuff like that. And figuring out how us three guys are gonna lift a 600-pound car body up this high in the air. Well, we may have built the world's first Mustang GT truck. Oh my God, there's not much left.
Looks kind of cool.
It does look kind of cool. It does not look very safe to me, but it looks kind of cool. Everything will get reinforced. We're just cutting out extra to make the body fit on quickly because it's faster for us to tie things back into the body than it is to keep cutting and removing the body and pulling it on and off and on and off, because we have no system to do that at all. It's just all man muscle out here, so.
We don't want to do that more than once.
No. All right, moving on forward, we know that the dash needs to get cut along this line right here, down through here, following this. It's best if we can trim about an inch off of this, but there's a GPS unit right under here, so we don't want to catch that. So we're gonna trim a little bit off of this as well, coming down through here, back there. Then this plastic gets pulled off. We cut right down through here and cut a lot of that off right through there. So we're just gonna really trim and lower this whole section down, and then we should really actually be ready for that body to come on.
First test.
Yeah, so let's get that stuff off. Oscar went insane with the cutting. He cut everything on the car apart. I left for like a couple hours and this is what we came back to. No, I'm kidding. But Oscar made all the trimmings that so the strategy that Oscar wanted to do with this, which I'm fully behind, is since that body is so heavy and it's gonna be so hard to take on and off, and we don't have like any type of an A-frame lift or anything, he wanted to cut off extra and then build back into the classic body. So you see he took the tubs out here, and then this is all kind of still the same, but then a lot more came out of the cowl, but this is again identical to how we had it in the last Mustang. A little bit of stuff off of here to make sure that everything's out of the way. So we are feeling pretty good now. We just got to shuffle a few things around and it's time to take the old body and put it on the new car for the first time. This is going to be exciting and difficult. We've come up with a strategy here. We're gonna turn this car around, possibly by driving it, we're not quite sure. And then we're gonna use the cherry picker over here to lift the back up as high as it'll go. And then we're gonna lift the front up, and then we're gonna roll that car in underneath this body here, hopefully. Fingers crossed. All right, well, we got the body on here, and it went down as far as we can to go in, like we're being stopped in the front, basically. And now we did this exactly like we did the last time. So what this is telling us is basically last time we were probably a little bit wider than we should have been, because now we're hitting these things in the front that we didn't hit before. There's a big bar right here, and then over there you can see there's a big bar right there that's holding up the front of this body. Now we're totally level across, and we are 2 3/4 of an inch of a gap right here, and we used to be 2, so we're 3/4 of an inch high. It looks really, really high right now because remember the car is not lowered, and we haven't cut that side panel off and done any like kind of side skirt stuff that makes it look so much better. So yeah, we're 3/4 of an inch high, and we're not gonna just let that be. We're gonna try and figure out how to get it lowered down and keep working with it. So it's gonna be some troubleshooting here in the front to try and cut out whatever we can to be able to sink this front end down the extra 3/4 of an inch that we were expecting. Make it the same exact height as the last build, which we know turns out looking really nice. Oscar made 2 cuts in the front, and that got our front to come down quite a bit. Now our bar is actually hitting the dash pad. So we made a measurement. We know exactly how wide the dash needs to be, and this bar is gonna come out. But before we do that, Oscar's gonna come back through here and trim out some of these things we were talking about earlier. It's the OEM 60, wow, it's dark. There we go. The OEM 67 trunk hinges are a little bit too long, so we're going to trim those down, and then we'll be able to drop the back as far as we need to. And then we've actually decided we're just going to keep working and keep trimming and see how far we can get this thing to go lower. Maybe go even lower than we did on the first time we tried this. So we'll start with those 2 things and then keep working from there. We've done it again, baby! This is so cool. So we got the gap to be 2 inches, just like it was with the last body on here. Windshield gap is perfect. So the body is officially on here. This is really, really cool. Huge milestone moment. So you guys, every time you saw the last car, you probably remember it being lowered. Obviously, we haven't lowered this yet. We had a really awesome company reach out to us though with the lowering system for this car. We're gonna get some new struts, new lowering springs and everything, and that is gonna have us fully set up. So for right now, it's on the stock suspension, but we will close this gap to be the point where this is gonna need to even be trimmed. But we got it on here. We got the 67 body officially on the 2015. This is so cool. So now we're gonna start welding the body on here real quick, because before we were like, we kind of stutter stepped a lot on the last build to make sure that everything was gonna be all perfect, but now we know everything's perfect because we've been here before. We've done this before. And it's Apocalypse car. So it's just time to start welding the body on. So let's get started welding this thing on here. I'm gonna start right here. So this piece needs to be welded up to this piece and make it all nice and strong. The way that we do that is take some nice thick steel, and first we're gonna build a template of exactly like kind of, because this has a lot of ins and outs and stuff like that, the shape between here and there, and then I'll cut that out of nice thick steel, and then we're gonna weld that in here. And also there's some plates that we slide back in here that accept the bolts for the door hinges. So those will get pocketed in there, and then we'll balk that off. Does that make sense? You'll see when I'm done. Got the side pieces cut and then tacked in here. I've still got a little bit of cleanup to do around, and then I'll let Oscar do the full weld out. I just wanted to get those in there. So next thing is Oscar's gonna go ahead and cut some 2x4 frame rail that we have left over from my Apocalypse build frame, and he's gonna go ahead and slot it in here because this body lays exactly 2 inches above this frame rail. That's how we know it's exactly parallel to the car. He's gonna slot that in there and then weld these 2 things together. Oscar got the side supports in, so like we said, we took, this is kind of like a C, because it's going to be a little bit of extra strength for side to side, and that's all welded in here nicely, and we'll be able to round that off, and then it's welded into here. Just tack welds for now. We'll fully weld all this out later, and we came up with a really cool side skirt idea that we'll show you guys a little bit later. So that's done on both sides. Next, we're going to go ahead and support the rear. So we've supported the front of this thing, supported the side of this. Last step is support the rear before we get to take it on a little test drive. So we're going to come in here off of this hinge area. This normally went down into the pan on the old car. We're going to do the same type of thing where we're going to connect that to that right there. That's going to help. And then we're going to come into here, straighten this stuff out right here, and then lay a really nice piece of 2x4 across here and weld it in, tack weld it into both sides. So that's going to be like a secondary bumper even. It'll be really good for protection, but it's also going to help support the weight of the car right off of the frame rails. So the frame rails for the Mustang run straight through here, and that's what we want to make sure that we're keying into. That rear reinforcement bar welded in here. This is, well, it's tack welded in here, so that's really good. And then all you got to do is box out that area right there and that area right there, and then this thing will be all tied up in the back, which is pretty cool. A lot faster than the last time we did this. So next thing we got to do is put a trunk lid in here just temporarily, because that is going to kind of set where this is horizontally in space. So that'll bolt up to the trunk lid, and then we'll know exactly how that affects down there, and then we can go ahead and weld from here to here, bridging that support from the 67 to the 2015 body. I don't know if we should be showing you guys this, but we got a trunk, it shuts, and Oscar's even got his own custom key. The old screwdriver pop. If you guys see Oscar's car, I just want you to know that it will be equipped with the top of the line alarm system that shoots flames and laser beams at bad guys. Yep. So don't screw with it.
Plus I carry a gun.
Lots of them. Oscar's strapped at all times. So, all right. Now that the trunk is on, though, we can go ahead and build some of those extensions. Yeah, you want to go just pop it for us real quick so we can show the inside? Right here, they come on down into that wheel well to keep the width right and to help support vertically.
I really want to keep the screwdriver key.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. I mean, we do have the right lock for that with a set of keys, but why? I mean, just why? The patina is looking great, by the way. I mean, this is coming along magnificently. Oscar welded in like kind of a gusseted support. You can see kind of going from there to there and from there to there sideways to stop the side to side moving action. And well, I can't move them, so there's not much to show on camera. So that is great. Now, it's time to go for a test drive. Let's drive this car with the new body on it. I think a couple things got unplugged as far as grounds that we're going to need to re-plug in from this this wiring harness here and there. We'll get those plugged in and see if it'll start back up. Yeah, Oscar just realized that it's it's going to be mad about the doors being open the entire time. That is a fact. We got the battery plugged in. It's beeping at us. That's a good sign. No big puffs of smoke or anything. We did change up the air intake a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw this, but we threw an air filter on here and duct taped the hell out of it. That's a duct. That's duct tape being used the right way. So the car should run a lot happier now. Oscar, you want to try and fire it up?
Yeah, let me go get the key.
Yeah, let's see how it does. Doesn't want to start.
No key detected, it says.
Oh God. Maybe we should power it down, power it back on?
Yeah.
No key detected. Did we take out any type of key detection antenna or anything like that? Let's take the power off. Oh, you got the key with you? All right.
Right here.
Power back on. Now let's see what happens. Ah, that sounds better. Fire up.
No key detected.
We broke the Mustang. All right, time to do some troubleshooting. We definitely did a little bit of working with this box down here. It's like kind of a fused junction box. It had to be taken off so we could weld carefully and cut, and that might have something to do with it. It might be a ground. We're not really sure. We'll do a little bit of troubleshooting and see what we can figure out. The windshield wipers are going. Go ahead and turn it back on.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening?
He's like, I don't know what that sound is. So we figured it out. Mustang was doing weird Mustang stuff. It wanted the key, like literally, I did some reading online that the detector is inside here. So we actually just slam dunked the key into the cup holder, and it seems like it's gonna start now. Austin, go ahead and fire her up, yeah. Woo! Go ahead. This car is so unhappy running right now. Hey, we got it up to 20. Uh-oh. Oh my God, my poor neighbors. Well, it's not happy.
No, it's running really bad.
It's running really bad. We need to get that new air intake in here that's actually made for this. I think it's going to make a world of difference. But, all right, let's get it back to the shop. It did get us here. We are in a different place than where we started. Mustang! We made it back in a legit cloud of smoke. This thing is running super rich and is super pissed off, but that's something for us to figure out in another episode. I don't really get why it'd be running so rich. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's definitely running rich.
I think it might be the O2 sensors. They're just hanging in the back. They're expecting a lot less oxygen.
Could be. It might have been better if we just unplugged them.
Yeah.
Although they don't use them a lot in the early stages of driving. But yeah, that was weird. That was not what we expected as far as it running. But hey, now we know more things to work on. But here's the cool thing. Somebody called the cops on us, they'd be like, there's a 67 Mustang driving down the street that's way too loud. Not a 2015. Because we body swapped it. All right, guys, well, that is now a 67 Mustang. It's super cool. Another body swap put on. That body is welded on there. There's some sheet metal finishing work to be done around the body section. We know that. But in the next episode, we're gonna just keep pushing forwards towards getting this thing looking more street legal. That means the front cowl, hood, fenders, headlights, front bumper, all that stuff is gonna get thrown onto this car. It's just gonna really quickly start looking really awesome. We got new wheels and tires coming soon. Oh, bunch of good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We will keep troubleshooting on the engine side. I'm pretty sure the intake has a lot to do with it. O2 sensors also have a lot to do with it. So once we get those two things dialed in, then if it still runs poorly, we will consider that a real problem. But until then, I'm not even really gonna worry about that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please join us for the next one. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. And if you want to check out our merch, bsforbuild.com. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace! Come on.